Good morning from Utah. I am back in Utah. I left New Mexico, I guess it was just last week. I spent a week in Colorado hanging out with some friends, and I was gonna hang out in the mountains there for a bit longer, but most of the roads up in the mountains don't open until June or May, so there wasn't a whole lot of camping options there. So I headed over to Utah. I'm currently in Moab, which is one of my favorite parts of Utah. There's just so much around here and in this general area. And the site I'm at, I've been here before a couple years ago, but it was so cold and windy, so it's nice to be out here in the spring when it is beautiful and sunny. Still a little early, so I still have my sweater on, but there's no one out here, which is surprising because it's currently the Easter Jeep Safari here in Moab. So you'll see literally groups of like 50 Jeeps just barreling down some of the roads. Town, gas stations, everything's kind of crazy. So I'm gonna be camped out here for a few days to just avoid those crowds. And I thought I would do a little 4Runner tour. So I thought I'd give a little dive into all the gear I have, how I have it packed, a little bit about my slightly janky build, pros and cons, just all of that stuff. So I'm gonna finish my coffee and then we'll get started. Okay, the sun is coming out real good, so sorry for the harsh lighting, but starting with the main back area on the inside, I have one drawer over here and a lower section over here that has a pull-out table. I store my cutting boards in there because that's most often where I will cut and kind of prep my food. This big drawer here is my main kitchen area. It's on heavy-duty locking slides. When you pull it out, there is this inset top here. Underneath here is some storage, extra kitchen items, and my stove, which is on that table, is usually stored in here. On the other side, I keep all of my kitchen needs and dishes, and right now it is an absolute mess, so I definitely need to do a deep clean of that. The spray bottle just has water and vinegar that I use for cleaning dishes, makes it a bit easy. All of my dishes, utensils, spices, they all get stored in there. Everything just kind of stacks, and it's definitely a bit messy, but it works. So that all gets stored in there. To the left in this perfect little cubby area is my garbage can. I had this garbage can with my previous build, so this was actually kind of customized to fit that perfectly right there. Above it, normally my cooking fuel gets stored there, and this is a cold brew tumble jar thing, so if I have room in my fridge I can make a nice cold brew. Over here in my little custom cubbies is kind of just like a catch-all. I try to keep it mostly organized and generally just has the things that I need every day or use every day. So I have my AeroPress and my coffee maker, my little stove that I use for my coffee or for other things. We've got some butt wipes, gotta have those. These Dunkin' cold brew packets I've been actually really enjoying for when it's a bit warmer out. It's actually pretty good. We've got headlamps, sunscreen, my Apple Watch, lighters, hand sanitizer, pretty much everything that I use every day. On the right of my bed, I have a 20-liter or 5-gallon Scepter water tank. That fits pretty much perfectly there, so that's really great. I also have this Lone Rock water pump. It's just a rechargeable water pump that I use, and I love it. I used to have like a attachment thing that I had to dump down and get. This makes it so I basically just have running water. So here on this side, the lower side, obviously is my bed. I have a Hest foamy mattress here that has been pretty comfortable. I used to have the X-Bed Mega Mat in there, and that was fine, but it did start to lose its inflation every night, so I had to inflate it every day, which is kind of annoying. So I got this last winter, and it fits in there perfectly. I got the short one because I'm short and it fits just fine, and it was cheaper, so that's what I have for my sleeping pad. On both sides of my rear window, I have a Molly panel here. They're from Victory 4x4. The reason I wanted the Victory 4x4 ones is because you can still utilize these little hook guys up there, which I do use to hold these lights, which is nice. So on each of these, again, they're basically just for storage, so you can attach a lot of stuff to them. I have toilet paper, paper towels, a speaker, a couple pouches with some other things. This is a RAM mount iPad holder, so I lay in my bed and watch stuff on my iPad. And a temperature gauge, which currently says it's 90 degrees, which isn't true. It's just because it's in direct sunlight right there. On this side, which you can barely see, I do have a bunch of pouches attached to it. This one just has muslin cloths that has handkerchiefs and maybe some gloves and buffs, I think, for colder weather. This big one down here, mostly snacks. There's some apples in there, snack bars. That pouch has liquid IV. And then this giant bag is basically an extension of my pantry, so a lot of snacks, my bread, and some produce get stored in there. Behind here I just have tote bags that I use for grocery shopping shoved back there, and then I have these reusable paper towels that I use a lot, and the used ones just go in this wet bag and they get washed whenever I do laundry. Something I forget about a lot is that the SR5 models have extra storage over here, where I think the other models have speaker stuff. And so I did buy this cover for it. It's a little hard to get into because my water's so full, but basically I keep my like fire starter stuff back there, extra wipes and trash bags and stuff that I don't really need to get to very often, but it is really nice extra storage, and this cover door thing kind of just helps keep it all contained in there. Okay, coming at you from the inside. I'm only 5'4", so pretty short, which is why I choose to sleep in the inside instead of a rooftop tent. Well, one reason. I think it's really nice to have everything you need with you, and I would be super annoyed if every night I had to climb up into a rooftop tent carrying clothes for the next day, or a snack, or extra water, or my computer, my iPad. I would just get so annoyed. So I honestly don't know how people do that if they're doing it every day. So I can lay down in here and I have plenty of room. I don't have to move the seat at all. I work up there, so I don't have to move that at all. I can put my arms above my head. I'm short, right? I have plenty of room, and I can nearly sit up. Not very good for my posture, but like, yeah, it's pretty cramped in here if you're like hanging out in here for long periods of time. But I mean, I can stretch my legs out this way, that way. I can sit up over there. There's lots of ways. I have been stuck in here for nearly a full day because of crazy windstorms or if it's freezing. So that's not very fun, but it happens, and I like being able to have all of my stuff with me, and it's pretty quiet, it's safe, better shelter from rain, snow, wind, all of that stuff. So that is why I do inside. All right. So up here I have a cargo net thing. Keeps pretty much all, no, it does. It stores all of my sweaters and jackets besides my puffy jackets, which I use as an extra pillow. You know, some beach shirts, whatever. There's a lot of stuff up there, so that's pretty nice to have. It doesn't bother me at all from the front because I don't have a sunroof, so there's that extra space up there in the front for that. I also store things like my Kindle and my iPad up here sometimes. Ear muff warmer thingies. And then over here I have my hat hook. Obviously I have too many hats, but I wear them a lot because I'm always outside, so I like the extra sun protection. I did forget to mention that I do have this second little cubby here, and this is basically all of my toiletries, toothbrush, toothpaste, dry shampoo, micellar water, a mirror, extra toothpaste. All of that kind of fits down there nicely. And behind this is actually pantry space, which I can access from over here. So the reason this was built at an angle like this and only goes to here is because I did want to be able to put at least one back seat back in, and I have used it before. Like, the seats are pretty easy to put back in, and I can just move this stuff over here, flip up that platform, put in that seat so I can like drive around my nephew. Now I have a niece, so I don't have room for her. I'll strap her to the roof. So that is angled so that the seat can go back there and clip in as it should. Don't use it very much anymore, but I think it still works great. I have all of this space here, kind of for socks and underwear, and then this is for my dirty clothes. But kind of access this pantry space, I usually come in from over there, and this goes all the way back to where my trash can is, so there's a decent amount of space back there. Obviously I keep some of my snacks and stuff up here so it doesn't get super squished, but most of my canned goods, pancake mix, box goods and everything gets stored down there. I'll go over my power setup a bit more later, but I did want to point out that I have several 12-volt outlets wired up all around. I have one right there, one right here on my little control panel, and then one over here by my iPad holder. So, also I have this charger for my phone, my AirPods, and my Apple Watch, just like an all-in-one. So I have so many places to charge all of my things. I have 200 amp hours of battery, so I don't really have to worry about powder, but I'll go over my battery setup later. Over here to the side of my bed, these are all my clothes. This is actually like a hanging clothes organizer. I used to just use my Patagonia black hole here, but this actually gives me a bit more space and it's a lot easier to kind of organize my stuff. This one generally is just my shirts and a pair of shorts. This has leggings and this is pants, you know, socks and underwear and stuff, and there's another little packing cube there. This is my camera bag, which houses most of my camera stuff. Underneath it there is a packing cube with some more of my summer hiking stuff that I don't need to use every day. But yeah, this just kind of goes there. Every time I come in, unless my shoes are out there on the little edge, I always keep my shoes here so they have their own little dirty place to hang out and not get all over everything, and they're not stored outside because of scorpions and other things you don't want to get in your shoes. Rain, those stay there. I put my hat back on because I was going to go back outside and show you some of the side stuff, but here's me laying in here. I'm fine, but I still have plenty of room. It's definitely getting warm out here now, but my comforter is actually just my 10-degree sleeping bag that I put in a duvet cover. The sleeping bag is an Enlightened Equipment one, and then I found the duvet cover from Zenbaby, so it doesn't fit perfectly, but it's pretty good. And then I was able to find sheets that fit this mattress pretty good, so that's nice. And then I do just have a 1-inch yoga pad under there that just helps with a little extra, and I can bring it out if I feel like doing anything outside, but then it gets super dirty and it's slightly annoying. Under my mattress, I do have some old kind of blackout things that I made. I did make them for like all my windows, but I think I only used the 2 rear windows because the front windows are decently tinted. The back windows have these Molly panels on it, so I will use these sometimes, not very often. And then because storage is so important, I don't know if you can see, but there is a little kind of built-in cubby under here. So my little built-in cubby that has mostly mosquito stuff and my water hose and water filter in there. So again, stuff that I don't need to get to very often. Okay, my passenger side rear, I have cleaning solution. This is where all of my battery setup is. I did do my own custom battery setup, I don't know, 2 summers ago now, last summer. I don't remember. So I have 200 amp hour lithium batteries there, and then everything's wired up. I have an alternator charger, that's what this is, and goes up to the solar panels, and then I have a 500 watt inverter. So that's where all my power comes from. And then under here, since I took out my back seats, it's just storage. So this is my shower bag. That's the main thing that's under here, but just a bunch of other stuff kind of shoved back there. And here, this has my puffy jackets. I have a rumble blanket. That's my pee jug. I have a vacuum. That's pretty much it over here. And then I have my little control panel. So this is my janky control panel. This one is covered up because it's kind of broken. That goes to my Starlink, which is up on my roof, and the button isn't supposed to light up when it's off, but it does, so I have it covered up, which I would need to do anyways because I pretty much just leave that on all the time. I also keep my inReach here just in case. This is wired to battery heating pads on my batteries. Since I was going to be out in the winter, lithium batteries have a hard time if it gets below freezing, so I have had to use that a couple times. Pretty easy to just set up, and it's been nice to have. And then I have a 12 volt plug, and then this switch goes to my inverter. It's definitely getting hot out here today. I'm gonna have to put some shorts on and might hang out in the sun for a bit, but first we'll finish the inside at least. So the driver's side, oh my god. Bug. The driver's side back seat has my fridge. It's a 25-liter fridge. It fits a good amount of food. It's definitely big enough for just me. Again, my dirty clothes bag. And then under here is just a bunch of storage. So this is just a bunch of extra camera doodads. Lots of other camera stuff under there. A few extra toiletries. We have my dish soap. And then behind my seat here is where kind of all of my stuff gets stored, like my outdoor table and my chair will go back here. And I have a light. And then this is part of my hammock stand. The rest of it is up on my roof. So I'll go over that in a bit. Yeah, this all just has its place. Those are kind of the bags for my table and chair and stuff that I don't really use. And then this dingy thing, I have a first aid kit. My passenger side, I have a desk. So I work remote. And this is where I do it. Sometimes I will work from my pull-out table if it's extra nice out, but I do stay pretty focused when I'm sitting up here. This bag will just get tossed over there. Keep my cameras and some other stuff in there sometimes. There's a little bit of extra storage, but this uses this dash accessory mount I have from Victory 4x4 and a bunch of RAM mounts, and it's totally inspired by, what's his name? Mike from Going Further. I'll add a link down below, but I pretty much based this off of his. I did have to change it a bit because his was a Lexus, but this has worked really well. And then I built this little nubbin to kind of hold my computer up. I use a external keyboard and mouse here, and then it's kind of a little bit higher so I don't have to crouch down. But I can sit, my hat isn't normally there, but I can sit here pretty comfortably and adjust the table as needed, which is nice. Down here, most of the time, all my shoes are stored there. Sometimes I'll try to fit them up in my rooftop boxes, and my drone is there right now because I was flying it last night, but that's where my shoes go. And then over here I have car detailing stuff, which I literally just like cleaned. I just cleaned everything, detailed everything like 2 days ago, and then of course it got super gusty and windy, and then everything was covered in sand again. So that's just how it goes. And my mats, they do get cleaned sometimes, but they're just like permanently dirty. Again, I've been living in this for 4 years, so if you've ever driven in the desert for like even a weekend, you understand that that dirt stays there for the rest of your life. My driver's side, I have hand sanitizer, another pee bottle, don't mind that, and some treasures. Choya, I got special rocks down there. It's my little trove of treasures. And then I like to keep my front seat clear as much as possible for, you know, common female travel safety reasons. And then I just have my phone mount and my disco ball. So, it has gotten pretty hot out now. My thermometer says 94 degrees now. It's not true, it's just because the sun is literally shining through the window on it. So I'm going to put on some shorts and sandals and hang out for a bit. I need to do a couple tasks on my computer, so I'm going to get that done, and then I will go around the outside a bit. Okay, so about the outside of my 4Runner. This is a 2021 4Runner. It's the SR5 model, white, no third row seats, no sunroof, nothing. So it's kind of like the lowest. It's just the base model, and the reason I went with that is because I knew I wanted to get a lift. I changed the tires, the wheels, pretty much everything that the like upgraded models come with anyways, that I would have changed, so it would have just been a waste of money. I do quite a bit of off-roading in this as well, and I haven't ever, I mean, I don't do anything insane, so I haven't needed like any of the lockers or the like, I don't know, rock crawling modes, all the other things that the fancier models have, so I found that this has been perfect for me. So on the outside, the first thing you'll see, just because I put it up because it's sunny, is my awning. This is actually the third awning I've had. The first two were pretty much the same. I just changed because, you know, the color of the first one didn't match the aesthetic. But those I hardly ever used because they were just so hard to put up, and being alone, like, it's just so awkward. If you know, you know. But this awning is so great. You just like pull it out. I use it so much. It's got like 3 different settings, so it can just be like a little bit. It's just a 5-foot model, so it's a little small, but I wanted to still be able to get into my roof box, and honestly it's more than enough for what I need. So in the front, I've upgraded the headlights. I have thoughts on these. They're the Morimoto headlights. I upgraded the grill to the TRD Pro grill, added Raptor lights that I never ever turn on, and I have a Victory 4x4 aluminum bumper and a winch and Baja Design lights. All of that is all the stuff up here. Again, I will list out and link everything in the description if you care. I also upgraded the tires and the wheels here. So I have the BF Goodrich KO2s on here and Method race wheels. I think they're 703s. The tires are only one size bigger than stock, so they're not super big. They're perfect for everything I need, and the spare still fits underneath where it's supposed to go. I also have these Victory 4x4 rock sliders. I am a fan of these. They're one of the first things I bought to try to protect the underside of my car, and yes, there's a dent right there. I won't go into it. Alright, on my roof, let's get up here. So on my roof I have 2, I think they're the 95-liter Roam boxes, and on each of them I have a 100-watt solar panel. I custom made these brackets to fit these flexible panels in here, and the way they hook on to these boxes is from these little janky brackets I made. So they just kind of slip over these nubbins, and then it is screwed in here and then in the back where the bottle opener was. So up in these boxes, again, just like a ton of storage for stuff, which is super nice. This one I have all of my backpacking gear, my outdoor movie screen, hiking poles, my day hiking bag. So yeah, pretty much just all my hiking stuff is in here. There's backpacking meals, everything I need. The other one I'm not going to get into because my awning is up, but that has my pack raft, extra fuel, I don't know, just some random bits and bobs in there. So they're both pretty full and add a bunch of extra storage. Also, I have one of these Right Line Gear step things that makes it so much easier to get up to stuff on my roof. So if you have a big car, highly recommend one of those. Okay, the rest of the stuff on my roof, I have Max Tracks up here. I've actually never even used them, but I'm really glad I have them. I have a water port shower tank here. It's just the 3-gallon. Generally I'll manually fill that up and then pressurize it. I have a ARB air compressor underneath my hood. These are my hammock stand, the Hammock Swiftlet. I used Quick Fist to fit them on there because I really wanted to bring it with me. And then over there is my Starlink Mini, and that is just permanently mounted up there. I mean, it's not permanent, but it's up there all the time, and there's a silicone cover on it so it's protected from, I don't know, getting scratched, I guess. I do run into trees a lot. And then I have a Prinsu ladder on my hatch here, and a bag that I use just for trash, maybe firewood. That's my Adventure Trail gear. So the water port tank is pressurized. The hose and nozzle and stuff is in one of my roam boxes, and then this here is a like shower room, so it opens up. It's pretty easy to open up and close up, and we'll just kind of make an enclosed shower situation. I don't use it very often, but it is definitely nice to have, especially if you're going to be in a spot with a lot of people. It will give you a little bit of privacy, or if I think somebody's gonna pull up, if I want to have a shower, I can use that. But most of the time you just kind of get naked in nature. All right, well, I think that's it. I always feel like I'm missing something, but I feel like I definitely covered all the big items. I think if this is something you're interested in, my top items that you need are, I will say, a fridge. They're not cheap, especially the 12-volt ones, but not having to worry about getting ice and, you know, just, ugh. I did that for like a summer and it was just not practical. It was, especially in the desert, it's just not really something that's very easy to do. But with that, of course, you need power. Luckily, there are a lot of power stations these days that are relatively affordable, that will power the 12-volt fridges pretty easily. And with that, I also have the solar panels and the alternators. So yeah, it's just kind of like a black hole of, if you want one thing, then you need all these other expensive things. But there are affordable options that you could get around to get to the same part or the same place. The other thing is just a comfortable mattress, or something to sleep on that's comfortable. Obviously, this isn't something you could do if you're going to be uncomfortable every night. I think my little bed is actually pretty cozy. It is a little cramped in there sometimes, but it's actually pretty spacious since I'm so short. I feel like I have plenty of room to stretch out and move around in there if I have to be in there, but most of the time I'm just outside all day, so that helps. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and let me know if you have any questions, and any of the items you see I will definitely link below. So bye.